All right. What's there to say? I'm not happy. Yes, they won, but my goodness. Why? Why does this happen? Why do they always? They should have destroyed the Seahawks. Come on, it's Geno Smith.
We looked like we were on route 2.
And no Chris Carson. I mean, this
exactly.
had all the makings of a kick ass. Like the Steelers should kick their ass on national television. And they did it for a little while. I mean, they went into halftime 14-0. And I sort of feel like what did Mike Tomlin tell him at halftime?
Well, that's what I said is like, how did the Seahawks come out of the locker room, like having made adjustments for the positive, and we came out like we picked up their bad luck or something, or their bad karma, and looked like a totally different bad juju, totally different team for the beginning of that second half. I mean, I will say that I try to always look at the positive. So I appreciate the defense regrouped. Do you know what I mean? They had some tough times there. They gave up some points, but they really did regroup. And in the past, I feel like we've seen them kind of give up when they start to fall apart. So I felt happy for that. And obviously happy we walked away with the win, because a win is a win, but that was not a pretty one.
Well, that's a problem. The defense, I mean, my goodness, they ran at will on the Steelers at one point. That's a concern.
Yeah, what was the opposite of the first half? That's the thing.
Yeah.
They couldn't get anything going on the ground in the first half. So what did the Steelers think? Oh, they couldn't get anything going on the ground in the first half. They're not going to do anything on the ground in the second half. I mean, is that maybe what they thought? I mean, my goodness.
I don't know. I wondered if they saw something, somebody saw something that they felt like they could exploit. But I went back and looked, and if that was the case, I mean, it could have been, but I couldn't figure out what it was. Do you know what I mean? That what weakness they would have found in our defense to be able to exploit it. I just thought we played really well in the first half and not in the beginning of the second half.
Well,
and
the
TJ Watt made that comment about like how when we all play well, do you know what I mean? Like things seem to work. Well, no kidding.
Who doesn't? In general, in life.
But the running defense is a concern. We know Cam Hayward is awesome, and we know TJ Watt's awesome. And then besides that, they have problems. I'm sorry, Isaiah Buggs, Wormley, Henry Mondo.
I feel like Alex Highsmith had a good game. I felt like he's really coming along this season. I'm super impressed by him and just how all over the place kind of disruptive he is every single game. And I think he's getting better. We see him getting better and better. I thought he looked really good on Sunday night too. But it's not enough. You've got to have more than 2 or 3 guys out there doing the work.
Yeah, there's no cohesion. I don't think there's defense is struggling. They're underachieving. And I feel like the offense, especially the offensive line, you know what I mean? They lack cohesion. I mean, Ben, I don't think he was sacked. Was he sacked at all in against Seattle? I don't think he was.
I don't think so.
But still, it's like,
but
just concerns. He's having to get, harken back to last year. He's having to get rid of the ball too quick. And I think that's creating mistakes.
Yeah,
I agree. I think we can talk about how, I don't necessarily agree that quarterbacks have to be like so mobile. You know what I mean? Like Lamar Jackson. I don't think they have to be so mobile. Some of the really good quarterbacks, Tom Brady is not, but he's mobile enough to get around in the pocket. And that to me is where Ben seems to really be struggling, is even with that in pocket mobility. You don't have to necessarily be able to run for first downs, but you need your O-line to hold long enough and for you to be able to move around the pocket to get things done. And it's like sometimes he just doesn't see them coming or isn't aware.
Yeah. I think he lacks, his awareness just isn't what it used to be, in the
it
past.
Used to be his thing.
Old age.
It used to be his thing to dance around in the pocket to buy some time, and now we
used to complain that he held the ball for way too long. Remember,
right.
The damn ball.
No, we're like, can't he do it a little bit longer? He should have held it a bit longer.
Right. But now it's like totally the opposite.
Right. Now it's like snap throw. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the line looked great against Denver, and yeah, he didn't get sacked, but still they still can't run. And that's another concern. You have to run. That's what this team is going to win on running the ball and good defense.
Yeah,
And
I think that was a big debate when they were talking about drafting a running back with their first pick. There was that great debate of whether the Steelers should draft a quarterback or whether they should spend it on an offensive lineman, because you can't run the ball if you have a shitty offensive line. And I sort of feel like that's coming to fruition. I mean, obviously Harris is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be an awesome running back. And there are times where he makes something out of nothing, but I just don't think it's enough for, to take the pressure off of the passing game.
No, he was dragging 2 defenders behind him at one point on Sunday night to pick up a first down. I mean, the kid is amazing, but somebody's got to be out there blocking for him. And sometimes it just looks like everything just collapses right on top of him. And it's so frustrating. And then you watch other teams, run game, and they're running at will. And it's just frustrating.
Right. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. And that, and then back to Ben, like that RPO just doesn't work if you don't have a mobile quarterback. Instead, it just looks like bad play action or something. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't get off the ground because he's not mobile enough to make it happen.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And another thing, I'm really getting tired. The receivers in general are okay, but there's one in particular, Chase Claypool. He's having a bad year.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting ready to write a piece for Steelers Wire for this week that, sophomore slump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just kind of what it's looking like so far. I mean, he had the big day against Denver, but other than that, he hasn't really. It's like he and Ben just aren't on Ben and Deontay. Yeah. They've been awesome. But for whatever reason, Chase Claypool and Ben just, I don't know. Maybe Chase is still in Canada and Ben's down here. I don't know. What's
somebody brought up a good point to me earlier today that we used to have more of that wide receiver blocking for another wide receiver. You know what I mean? That we used to do it with Juju and AB. And then, in this game, we saw some of it with Claypool for Deontay Johnson and, kind of that thought of why don't we do more of that? You know what I mean? When we do that, when we have a receiver blocking for another receiver, it really seems to help. But instead, it looked like they just weren't synced up a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think that is a huge piece of what the Steelers are going to miss not having Juju there. Yeah. He was a blocking receiver. I mean, there were, looking at his PFF grades, there were some, like everything else, there were some days where he was better and some days where he wasn't, but he still was able to do it. And he was still, a component of the blocking game. And I just think that's a huge part that a lot of people maybe aren't looking at because they think, oh, he's just a wide receiver. The Steelers will make up for that. But no, I mean, there was a lot more that he did, whether it was in the run game or the pass game. So I think they're starting to see, starting to feel.
To really miss him. Yeah. It's not as easy as just somebody else absorbing the number of catches he makes.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
And that's another thing that Chase Claypool is supposed to be so good at. It's like, oh, he's so aggressive. He's so, man, I don't know. I mean, hey,
I don't see it happens. This year.
Sophomore slumps happen. It happens. He was so awesome as a rookie. It happens. So hopefully he could get it back together. Another thing that was weird is they basically replaced Juju with Ray.
Yeah. Oh.
If I'm James Washington, I just I don't even show up to work. I'm too angry if I'm him. Like, come on.
Yeah. I know I had somebody text me, is like, James Washington not on the Steelers
Seriously, like what is going
you would
on?
Think no, but he's still there.
Yeah,
doing what I don't know.
Too. Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't know. I don't know X's and Y's and O's and K's and
P's and L's and
I just I don't know. Ray. James Washington, like there's different skill sets, obviously, and for whatever reason, they feel like Ray's is better than James's skill set. but I don't get it. It's just Washington's had so many games where he's been a huge factor, so I just don't get it. I'm baffled.
The thing is, I mean, they asked Tomlin and he said, well, it was because of matchups. And another thing they said they like about Ray is that he could block. Well, Ray is like, he's like 70 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know who he's blocking.
I mean, did you see that one play toward the end of the game? They threw to him and he immediately just got destroyed. Like,
right.
It just got leveled, completely leveled.
Yeah.
And I think it's an opportunity. I don't know. You try to look at some of these things and look at it as a positive, and it's terrible not to have Juju. But, teams are looking at film of us, and it's always with Juju. So is this an opportunity to run some different kinds of plays, where you mix it up with Ray and James Washington and some of these other guys and mix it up and do something new and different. And that's not happening.
Well,
you can't just always pluck somebody out and pluck somebody else back in.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, how about switching it up a little bit? Like when in the Denver game when Juju got hurt, they put Chase Claypool in the slot where Juju was, and he did really well. He didn't do, because every play to Chase Claypool is throw it up along the sideline deep, and he somehow falls diagonally and never makes a catch. And he's tall and fast. Use that.
Yeah, and I get that he's supposed to be that deep threat, but I do think you could use it in other ways that aren't necessarily bad. It's like we have some sort of short-term memory issue where we forget the things that didn't work and we just keep repeating them and don't remember the things that did. And it's frustrating.
Yeah, I think Claypool, he had a couple, it was either 1 or 2 rushing touchdowns last year. And he was kind of used in the jet sweep whatnot a lot. And I think that, they've done some of that this year, but I just feel like they could be using Claypool in more creative ways than they are. And they're just
a lot more.
Yeah. I don't know. I was so hopeful after the Denver game. It's like, hey, we figured it out. And
I was hopeful all the way through halftime of Sunday night, and then kind of fell apart. I was like, well, this is perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. This looks great. We'll end this game 28-0.
I mean, it was late. Maybe it was past their bedtime. I don't know.
For whatever reason, I still had that, okay, we're going into halftime. We're up 2 scores, but let's not. I still had that apprehension.
I always worry about them taking their foot off the gas because we've done that before. You know what I mean? You're doing really well, and then all of a sudden, you just stop putting pressure. You drop back into prevent defense. Letting them start run on you, letting them start, passing on you, and it looked even worse than that to me on Sunday. It looked like a totally different defense that came out for that first part of the second half. It was like a switch, like they were not in sync at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because, man, they won 2 games in a row, but yet here we are, and we're sad, and we're we just don't know what's going on, and it's like I think last year kind of spoiled us a little bit, but
I mean, even last year, like when they were winning, they would pull crap like this, like when they barely beat the Cowboys with some like 10th string quarterback, or they barely beat the Ravens with 3/4 of their team on COVID. They do stuff like this. It's just typical Steelers. It's like, it's like when they see, like when they played the Bills were at their full strength, and it's like, okay, we're gonna rise to the challenge. But when they say, it's like, oh, they have their backup quarterback, they have a backup running back. Oh, we got this in the bag. Oh, yeah.
And everybody's a professional. You know what I mean? Everybody's the best at their job. Do you know what I mean? There may be varying degrees, but it's not like any backup players are not good. Do you know what I mean?
You're in the NFL.
Right. You're in the NFL. You're still supposed to be pretty good. And a lot of these teams, and Garrett's one of the coaches that does it, has sort of a different package they run for, like a Geno Smith, do you know what I mean, than you do for Russell Wilson. And you change things up and play to his strengths. And he does that really well. I mean, give Seattle a lot of credit for giving us a really tough game and making a lot of adjustments and utilizing Geno Smith in the way he should be utilized. And they did really well. was better
Well-
than we did. We had to play Mason.
Is Geno Smith going to be in Pittsburgh next year?
I hope not.
I was a joke, but I
You
just
know
say
what?
every time.
Well, they want everybody to.
Good
So now that you
backup.
said it,
Right.
people will be tweeting about it tomorrow. We
Yeah.
should get Gino.
The funny thing is, I haven't heard Geno Smith. I've heard Russell Wilson.
That's
Right.
craziness.
Forget. Let's look at the backup. Let's get the starter for the Seahawks.
Right. It's crazy.
My goodness. Yeah, he's going to back up Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
The other thing that they said besides, oh, you shouldn't draft a running back in the first round, is you shouldn't pay that much to a defensive player. And TJ Watt's looking like a bargain right now.
Man, he sure is. He sure is. He earned every cent. He's earning every cent of that money. He really is. He is so disruptive.
He won the game. He single-handedly
Yeah.
won the game.
He really did. And I was excited that he had such a good game like that. And especially that big play to kind of clinch it in overtime in front of all those alumni that were there. I think that was really cool. All of our defensive players of the year were there watching the game. And so I thought was really neat for him to have those people there watching him.
Mhm.
See, that's why I thought it was going to be a blowout. Steelers are awesome on Sunday night.
Yeah.
They're awesome. It's like they have their home field advantage is even a bigger home field advantage because the crowd is more intense. Then
Yeah.
you add that you have all those alumni, Troy, Bill Cowher, all those people, and they almost lose to Geno Smith.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And it was like almost 2 years since we've had a night game, a home night game. And so, I know everybody was really pumped up for it. The players were talking about how excited they were and how the atmosphere is so different. And it looked like that for a little while.
Yeah. Boy.
Yeah. And then, so now there's a bye.
Oh,
There's-
thank goodness.
I mean,
That's right.
Mike Tomlin today said something like, I think it was Chris Adamski tweeted it, that Mike Tomlin has never met a bye week he didn't like. And he was like, does he forget about last year? About
Right.
the bye week?
Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere because the Titans were all COVIDed up. I mean, Mike,
Yeah, that was terrible. At least we're not in that situation again.
well, they didn't even really have a bye week last year. It was all
No, it was
because
like
of all
a
the-
fake bye week.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they, I believe it's Cleveland,
yeah.
which, so Sunday I am in Youngstown, Ohio, visiting
Mm.
family, and they're all Browns fans.
I'd have to cancel
Man.
that trip.
Yeah, I was a little scared, but then so I'm watching the Browns play the Arizona Cardinals, and they're
Yeah.
getting destroyed, and I'm just like, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna be here and sip my tea and just watch this team get destroyed.
Well, the Browns fans
Yeah,
have been awful
exactly.
quiet. They started out running their mouths a lot this season, once we got past game 2 and we lost, they
Super
out
Bowl.
running their mouths. Yeah, but they've been super quiet lately. So I'm sure they're just waiting to get through the game against us in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and they're blaming the refs. And of course, I would be blaming the refs as well if, some bad calls and whatever. But at the same time, it's like, man, if you're good, you still win or
Yeah.
you still beat or you're still competitive. And they just
I mean,
weren't.
the refs. I mean, I know there was like one roughing the passer call that was just absolutely ridiculous, but
Yeah.
I mean, the refs almost gave the Seahawks the game, so we
Right.
can't. That crap at the end was just.
The more I complain about the refs and how bad they are, it's like they get worse every year. Like, yeah, hold my beer, watch what we can do now, and it gets worse and worse. Because I didn't have an issue with what happened at the end of the game with them putting time back on the clock, because I think it was a second is what I saw. But either way, a second or 3, it didn't matter. But I had a bigger issue that they pretended to stop the clock, like go back to review that play when it was clearly a catch. And there was like 2 questionable plays before that, but because it was under 2 minutes, we couldn't throw it to challenge them, but they didn't look at those. So it was like, so why do you pick this one? There's no consistency.
It's
It doesn't make
like
sense.
It's like they were saying, whoa, we gotta give Seattle their chance to tie the game. Come on,
well,
everybody.
And you give them all that time to like regroup and get their act together, while you pretend to be looking at this play that you weren't looking at. And it's that kind of stuff that frustrates me about the refs. But I think you're right, Allison. You have to be able to pull it out regardless. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to rise above that. There's lots of bad play calls in all games.
Yeah. And the Browns, I mean, they're hurting. Gosh, they have a whole slew of injuries. So it's going to be interesting to see.
That's a thing. And they have a short game. They have a Thursday night game. And I mean, technically, I mean, the Steelers and the Browns have the same record right now, but they are in trouble.
It looks like it.
And even when they're not, and I mean, it sounds like Baker Mayfield is just working through one hell, playing through, I think he said a torn labrum or something like that, like on his other shoulder. That has to hurt like hell. I mean, he has to be, But
then you have to ask, is it really the best thing to have him out there playing? Do you know what I mean? Is that really the best thing? Like, not just for the future of this season, but for his future with your team, his future as a player. Do you know what I mean? Is this really the best thing?
I don't think he's that great. So
even
if he's fully healthy, I don't think he's that great. That's why I'm hoping the Browns give him like some 10-year, $500 million contract or something like that. Pay the man for his.
That's what the Browns fans want, man. They love him. They love that kid. And I get loving your player and liking your player, but you got to be able to see it for what it is.
Yeah, it's just tough because they haven't had a decent quarterback in 40 years. So
Yeah, I mean, compared to Tim Couch, he's good, but compared to Kyler Murray and Mahomes and Dak Prescott, he's not good.
No,
he's just he's a little better than a game manager, and that's it.
Yeah.
But yes, pay him, Browns, pay him a billion dollar contract.
All the money.
Yeah, all the money. $1 billion. First $1 billion contract. Do it.
Make him the highest paid player in the NFL. Go ahead.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, that's gonna, because I think that game is in Cleveland also. So it's like, oh boy,
on Halloween.
Right? Yeah. Oh, great.
Right.
Great. So
there's gonna be some burning couches.
Although, these are the kinds of random games that, fans get all nervous about, and then the Steelers turn around and blow your socks off and act like a team you've never seen before, and you're left thinking, what the hell? And then they'll struggle against Washington or something,
right.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard
to
predict.
I think after that they have Chicago and Detroit, who are both just awful this year.
Terrible.
And they're both in Pittsburgh, Chicago and Detroit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So hopefully that helps.
Chicago's a Monday night game.
Yeah.
I hope they bring back Jerome Bettis and Brian Urlacher so he could run him over again. That's what I always think about when I think of the Bears and the Steelers.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it's so funny when you look before the season and say, "Oh, the schedule is so hard. Oh my goodness." Well, we played Seattle without Russell Wilson,
right?
And who knows what shape the Browns will be in, who they'll be missing. So you just take it.
The reality is you never know, because you're basing your tough opinion on what the teams look like the year prior in a lot of cases, or who you think they have this year that they've picked up, and that doesn't always make such a big difference, or it does. And sometimes the teams that you think are going to be a cakewalk turn out to really pull it off and have a really good season.
Right. Yeah. I think their schedule for the rest of the season is gonna, man, Baltimore. How about the Ravens?
That's
they
crazy.
Have 80 million people injured, and they're 5-1, and they're single-handedly just beating other teams.
Yeah, they're playing really smart ball.
Yeah,
really, really smart.
Some of that is luck, but some of that is just. Hey, there was no luck. The Chargers are supposed to be legit good, and they just stomped them,
destroyed them. Yeah. Cincinnati's kind of getting lucky a little bit, I think, with some of their wins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think the Ravens, they look like a force to be reckoned with. I mean, I agree with you that some of it's luck, but there's there's a lot of skill there in the coaching that they just play to those guys that they've got strengths and are putting together something that really works for them. And it's kind of amazing. Because I expected him to really flounder, with all the injured players. I have a couple friends who are Ravens fans, and they were really worried going in.
Oh yeah, they got
all of a sudden they're winning the Super Bowl. Back then they were worried.
Hey, all respect to Lamar Jackson. He is literally putting the team on his back.
Yes,
he's doing everything.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's not just throwing the ball up there and catching it himself.
Right. Yeah. He's proven me wrong for some of the things I said about him. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, all respect to him. He is amazing.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, it's going to be really interesting.
It's going to be tough to play them.
Who knows about the Bengals? I think they're,
I'm still surprised that they're, I mean, like you said, the schedule and some luck and whatever, but I'm still surprised that, that they're as good as they are.
They usually self-destruct a little bit, and I haven't seen as much of that this year as in years prior. So,
I mean, really all you need is a good quarterback, a good running back, and a good wide receiver, and they got that. So we'll see. That's really all you need. So
yeah, that was another team too that was like they were getting ragged, and I was probably one of the people that was like, "What? Why did you draft a wide receiver instead of an offensive lineman?" And I guess the same could be said for the Steelers. Why did you draft a running back instead of an offensive lineman? But wow, the chemistry that they had in college, it seems like it just kind of transitioned right over.
It's working for him. And I defended the Najee pick last week to somebody. I still defend it. I think nobody has a crystal ball, so you can't predict.
Well,
and you needed all those positions anyway. So, to me, sometimes.
Yeah. And the line will get better. I mean,
the line will get better.
Before Najee's dead, before Mike Tomlin runs him into the ground,
the wheels fall off because because you said Tomlin doesn't care about him.
But he's the kind of player that, that you hope to have long term and really make an impact on your team. Do you know what I mean? And to me, as opposed to, he's got like potential, serious potential, as opposed to rolling the dice on some lineman that, who knows? Because there really wasn't a great lineman even available when we took him.
Right. And that's the thing. You shouldn't draft a running back in the first round. Does have some merit, but it depends on the running back.
Yeah.
Like it was Najee, and then I wouldn't have drafted any of those other running backs this year in the first round. So it just happened to fall. And there was that. I think there was that Darisaw, that offensive lineman that was really good. And I think he was taken like the pick before the Steelers. Now, if he was available, that would have been a really interesting debate.
Well, then there might have been a conversation, but without him being available, and we, all the draft modules looked like he was going to be gone early, even though there was some shakeups, it still looked like he would go early. And you just don't know. But I mean, to me, you see a player like that. There's some players you see them and you can't overlook them. Even if it isn't your biggest need, it's still a need. And you spend a lot of the offseason filling all those holes, in all positions almost. So, I'll defend that pick any day.
Me too.
I'm trying to see what Najee, like what his height and weight are compared. So it's 6'2", 229.
Yeah.
And I believe Derrick Henry is 6'3" or 6'4" and like 230 something or something like that.
He is just a freak of nature.
Oh God, he's scary.
He is amazing.
He's absolutely scary.
I love watching him play. He is something else.
When he has a whole full head of steam, if I'm on that field trying to tackle him, I'd fake an injury. I'm like, my hamstring. Oh my, sorry.
I pretend I tripped.
Him, but
he took off.
My butt. Oh, yeah. He's
incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'm glad he's playing well.
I would have bet the house that Buffalo was going to beat the Titans. Oh,
me too. I had the Bills and everything. It was, it really was. It was nice to see the Bills get upset too.
Yeah, of course.
That didn't bother me any.
No.
Even though I didn't pick them, I had in my football pool, I picked the Bills, but still it's not sad to see. And I like that Henry had a great game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. I mean, we're just, the season is still young. It's funny that the Chiefs are in last place in their division or something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Come on. That's just weird. That's just
the only thing that's going as predicted to me is Tampa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tom Brady being Tom Brady. So
Exactly.
other than that, to me, there's been a lot of things this season that have been surprising. The Browns aren't as good as I thought they'd be. Kansas City's not as good as I thought they'd be.
The really pathetic, sad, disgusting thing is the Cowboys are good. And I mean, Cowboy fans are obnoxious when they're losing. When they're winning, it might be unbearable.
They are the worst of the worst, completely annoying. Yeah. And not really good sports most of the time. Not all of them Cowboy fans. I'm sure there's some of you that are nice, but a lot of them.
They're all bad. They're all bad. 100%. It's but
I'm old enough to still feel the old Cowboy Steelers rivalry. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, not a fan.
I'm still not over Super Bowl 30.
Never will be.
I didn't talk to my family for weeks.
Yeah. That was horrible.
Neil O'Donnell, I don't know how much they paid you off, buddy, but
that was ridiculous. I just sat there, watched that game with my mouth hanging open. I couldn't believe it.
No,
these young kids have no idea what real pain feels like.
That's right.
And they're not really gonna know until Ben Roethlisberger's gone.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "What's going on?"
Right. This is crazy. Yeah, we're like every other team in the world now.
Yeah.
Mediocre. Yeah.
It's gonna be really interesting to see what happens next year or whenever Ben retires.
Yeah.
Who they're bringing in. I'm telling you right now, it's not Aaron Rodgers.
No,
I don't care how much he loves Pittsburgh dad. Aaron Rodgers is not
I think that was I swear I think that was like a sarcastic poke at us to pretend like you're a fan, but it was sort of sarcastic. He had that look on his face. I didn't buy that.
No, I think it's genuine because he had to deal with that McCarthy, his coach, who's a huge yinzer. So he knows all about the Pittsburgh culture and all that stuff. So
but I don't think he's couldn't afford him for one thing. And then when you want somebody that's a year younger than Ben, that's not planning for your future. That's an expensive Band-Aid.
Right. And he'll be too busy owning the Bears.
Right. The sad thing is that there's just not that many quarterbacks, really good quarterbacks in the draft class this year too. And there's a few, but I'm gonna take the kid from Liberty.
The only way you get a quarterback in the draft is if you draft top 5 or something.
Right.
So that's kind of out of the question.
Right. You have to be looking at somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's nowadays there's quarterbacks available in trades. Some free agent pops up.
Yeah.
Who knows what crazy situation is going to happen. So they could probably get a pretty good quarterback. So
I would think
that's going to be really
just going to be interesting to see who winds up being available and how they fit into the organization.
I still think they're going to draft Arch Manning.
Isn't he 12 or something like that?
24, something like that. I can't remember what year he comes out, but
right. I was going to say he's a few
young.
years. Yeah, sure.
Hey, I'll take him when he comes out. We can take him then, but we got time.
Yeah.
Man, I feel bad for anybody in the Manning family that's not a quarterback. There's a third Manning brother.
Yeah.
That didn't do much. And,
isn't he like an accountant or something?
Something like that.
What does he talk about at dinner, on Christmas? What do you talk about when everybody else is talking about being the quarterback who ruled the world, and then you did somebody's taxes or whatever? I don't even know. What do you say?
Hey guys, I brought a great nut roll. Look, I mean, could you? Oh, this was so good. I used really good cream cheese. Yeah. What do you say?
Yeah. I don't
And
know.
then like, the Christmas presents are like, hey mom, I got you a Mercedes. Oh yeah, mom, I got
Right.
you a BMW. I got you an Amazon gift card for $50. It's all I could afford.
Right.
I didn't
Diamond
make it.
necklace off Wish.
You don't have to- yeah, exactly. Yep. So he's 16, right? So what's the
Yeah.
math on that? When he comes out of college, you know,
Well, in two, I assume in 2 years
Possible.
he'll be in college, and then
right?
so we're
6
looking at
years
5
from
years
now.
away. So we're looking at
2026.
2026. Yeah, first
Yeah.
pick of the 2026 draft right there.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That works with our interim
Yeah.
short-term quarterback that we're going to pick up that's already a veteran for
Right.
for
Yeah.
next season.
There you go.
Work perfectly.
I think it's interesting that Ben always says, I was talking to Josh Dobbs, and I was talking to Dobbs. Like, why aren't you talking to Mason? What's I don't think they like each other.
No.
just a guess. I don't know.
I get that Josh Dobbs is really, really smart. You know what I mean? The kid is really smart. But you're right. It's weird. You don't ever hear that Mason is included in those conversations. So yeah, do they not get along? Is Mason not the brightest bulb in the pack? I mean, who knows?
I don't know.
Probably not.
It's a strange dynamic in that quarterback group.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and you don't hear anything about what's going on with Haskins, or you know what I mean, any of them.
No.
So
Mm-mm.
Haskins
It's almost like
does
he's
not.
gone.
He's always listed as an inactive, so he doesn't even
Suit up
get a
and-
helmet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, older Steeler fans, we've lived through Tommy Maddox and Cordell Stewart and
yeah,
and
I like Cordell.
Mike Tomczak
Yeah.
and
yeah.
Neil O'Donnell.
Neil
So
O'Donnell.
we'll
Bubby,
see.
Come on, Bubby. You forgot about Bubby Brister.
Bobby.
Yeah,
Oh
Brister.
God. Oh, God bless Bobby. Oh man.
That was rough. I was saying to somebody the other day that I'll be interested to hear if it ever does really come out, like somebody to talk about what happened with the development of Haskins, because we just haven't heard anything. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I didn't feel like he totally
I got
got
my Bobby
like,
Brister right here.
oh, there you go. I love it. Didn't really get a whole lot of playing time in preseason with the other starters. You know what I mean? And you just have to wonder, what is that?
Cordell.
Oh, I love it.
Do you think
Oh,
this
is
looks
that,
like him?
Allison?
this is a little.
Bobby.
Oh, you got a
Bobby
Bobby,
Brister?
a
I
Bobby
love it.
autograph. Oh,
Yep. It's from my
I know, that
cousin.
looks like- Jerry, that looks like the guy from the Green Mile. That doesn't look anything like Cordell.
You're right. That's
He's very angry.
poor
they did him
guy.
dirty.
Wow.
Yeah, that was not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
That was
perfect.
so-
I've got Bubby
Big
Brister.
Cordell fan.
But you know what? Cordell that was a very interesting time.
He was ahead of his
Yeah,
time.
he was ahead of his time, man. If he was
really
around
was.
these days,
Imagine him now. He would basically be Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
would
he
be
really
okay
would.
with him
He fought
running.
Lamar Jackson.
I
Yeah.
loved all of the crazy plays we ran when we had him. I really did. I was there for all of it. I thought, I know that he had his downsides too, but I don't know that I ever felt like he really got such a bad rap in Pittsburgh. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel like he always got like a fair shake to really be developed properly. I don't even think they really knew what to do with him. They kept trying
No.
to talk him into being a wide receiver, and
Right.
he would dig in his heels and say he didn't want to, and so then they were almost like, well, yeah, well then we're not putting the energy into this. And I think he could have been great.
I agree.
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was a really weird time.
It
Yeah.
was.
They benched him. They made him a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And he clearly didn't want to be. And then he was a quarterback again. He was good.
And then dealing with all those terrible rumors and lies that were being
Terrible.
spread around him in Pittsburgh. I mean, that was really sad.
absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't like somebody as a player, that's fine. You're entitled to say that. But these people's personal lives, that's not fair to be making up stories about them. And even if it were true, it wouldn't have been okay, And so just there's just no way to defend that behavior.
And just somebody made it up. Just some, I think, like some cop or something like that, just decided to make it up.
Made it up.
And and then everybody's like, "Oh, I swear, I saw." Shut up. That's just terrible. It's a terrible character assassination, and he had to
really
put up with that. He had to go before the. I think he had to go before the team and address that
and address the issue. Can you imagine asking somebody to do that today? I mean, I can't even wrap my head around asking somebody to go in front of your workplace and address rumors like that in that manner, like you're apologizing or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this was fun.
This was
always is.
Yeah.
Didn't expect to do a show and tell, but that's okay.
Right. That was
next
fun.
time I'm bringing toys. I'm in the wrong room.
I thought I was gonna have to like look for the Bubby Brister thing, and I was like, wait a minute,
There you go.
He's right there, just waiting. Just waiting.
No, Bubby was another interesting one. He just like he basically said, "Screw it, I'm just gonna wing it. Just whatever. I'm just throwing it everywhere. Let's see what happens."
Yeah.
Yep. Just close your eyes and look for the best.
Catch it or not, that's up to you.
Yeah. He's such a personality. My goodness.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, guys.
All
Thanks so
good
much.
To catch up. You're welcome.
Till next time.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.